In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Moon Tea Podcast. Today we have Rostam. What's up, Rostam?
Yo.
We out here. Hugh and Rostam are in Rostam's whiteboard man cave.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't show it, but my guess is past this part, it's just a bunch of whiteboards. This is just the teas right here. I have 0 whiteboards, so not at that level yet. I don't know. What's up, guys?
Not much. I honestly am very excited to have Senior Mahabadi on the podcast today. Basically, Rostam is one of the most adventurous gentlemen I've ever met, who is the most outgoing and intelligent and hardworking, dedicated to his crafts, and is such a bro, just there for everybody.
Oh, thank you.
And Rostam, one quick thing, he's just come back from France.
Ooh.
He followed and didn't follow. He met up with the romantic interest of his life at the present, and it was very romantic. Such a French thing to do.
Yeah. No, it was cool. France was awesome.
And he's a back-end developer, self-taught, went to boot camp, and went on from there. It's amazing, and yeah, just jack of all trades. Loses to me in pickleball all the time. Just kidding. I lose all the time to him. Pretty good.
For those of you listening on Spotify or iTunes, he also has a magnificent beard. Wow, I am very impressed right now.
It's a blessing and a curse.
I have no notion of what curse there may be. Do you put beard oil on it? And
I used to, and then I have to comb it all the time to keep the hair straight. And it's like, it's like a part-time job, but yeah, it came out nice. And then you have to trim it up every once in a while, so like every couple of days, and that's the curse. But yeah,
it's my dream to have a beard and an afro, and then I shave the afro, and then I have a giant beard on the bottom, and then be bald on top, and have like upside down hair. But
I see it.
That is a pipe dream. Will not happen. Wow. Tell us about your trip to France. That sounds really cool.
Threw you under the bus there.
Here we go. We're starting. Now, France was cool. So kind of to give backstory is we were traveling, me and my 2 buddies. We go to Tahiti every year, and we do some kite surfing over there and just hang out. Really cool spot just to get away. And we went during COVID one time, and then we went the next year as well, this year. And we were on the beach having tequila at like 10 o'clock in the morning. There was a girl nearby, and so we offered her a shot of tequila. And she said no initially, and so then we were like, all right, we'll do our own thing. So we hang out, and then we come back to the beach, and she comes up to us and is like, I'll take you guys up on a beer. So then that's like kind of when we started talking. She had a group of 4 other people with her, and her and I connected. And then, we kept in contact as we went back. I think we spent like 2 or 3 days together. And then I went back home to America, and she went back to France. And we just enjoyed our time together, enjoyed talking. And then she's like, well, come out to Paris. And she's like, come out for my birthday, which was on the 27th of October. So I was like, all right, this could be fun. She's throwing a huge party. She has like 20 people going. And so, and they're good people that I met and her friends. And so I was like, yeah, why not? And so spent a week over there, did all the touristy stuff, the Eiffel Tower, Sacré-Cœur, Pantheon. And then the second week I worked from home. So not really too much craziness that happened. And then, now I'm back. Just got back this weekend.
Now he's pining away. Woe is Rostam.
I want to go back. I want to go back tomorrow. it's amazing over there.
Wow, that is amazing. Do you speak French?
I do not, but I took a Duolingo. I learned some like normal phrases because in France they like get mad at people who don't try. And so I was like, well, I'll learn how to say, do you speak English? Like order something at the store. I'm able to like count and just kind of all the basic stuff, just to show them that, hey, I'm trying, you know?
Dude, that is an amazing story. What a way to what a way to start off the first like 4 minutes of this podcast. That is wow. So are you interested in this girl? Like are you trying to see her again? Like what was that last 2 weeks like?
Yeah, Rostam, what are your feelings about this lady?
You wanna just tell the internet?
We get into the deep stuff already. No, I mean, I think she checks off a lot of check boxes as far as like, you know, we define what we want in our future, whether it be a relationship or marriage or kids. And so for me, it's like, what I want in a significant other is good communication. I want to be able to travel with them because it's something that I do multiple times a year. And then I want to have like the same interests, whether it be like food, activities, etc. And so, you know, on my travels in Tahiti, we didn't get much time to explore that, but the communication was there, and the travel was there. And then I went to France, and it was kind of the same thing, where it just reassured, like, hey, you know, we have good communication, we eat great food, we go and sightsee together, and we have a great time. There's not too much like awkwardness; it's all like jokes and fun. She gets my humor, and so for me, it's like I wouldn't mind continuing it on. And I think like she's on the same boat where, you know, we realize there's a reality of like she lives in France, I live in America, and like for us to continue this on like long term, it would be like someone would have to move, right? And so I don't think we're ready to have those conversations yet, but we both feel strongly about each other, and so we'll just kind of keep going with this vibe and see where it takes us.
Wow. That is amazing. um, I, I've I've had friends and I've heard about stories like this where you know someone's studying abroad, they meet someone through like an international group, and I feel like you know like if you meet like some foreigner, it's like it's a little more intriguing and it's a little more interesting and so yeah, it seems like a really cool experience. I think the one thing I've thought about was like, oh, if that were to happen to me, the tricky thing is that whenever you see that other person and you like travel to that person or that person travels to you, it's like you're always on vacation, sort of, which is very different from like you just live together for like a month. I guess since you worked the second week remotely, you had like a little piece of that, but yeah, that's like one thing that if I were to be in that situation would go on in my head.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's kind of like this excitingness of something new, right? As you travel over there because you're in a new area that you haven't been before, and so for me, it's like I realized it was kind of vacation, but at the same time, like we were together for 2 weeks, and it's like we didn't argue, didn't fight, we had like a great time, and maybe that's because of the excitement and the newness, but yeah, the fact that I was working there the second week and she was working as well, and it still kind of felt natural and felt good. It was like, okay, this is different.
this is amazing. Thanks for sharing on the internet.
Yeah, thanks you for bringing it up. You know,
I had to. You know, there's so much to like communication dynamics and long distance relationships, and you're somehow making it work. And it's amazing to me, like watching Rostam, you know, have this quiet smile on his face as he's staring at his phone and at this beautiful love interest of his, and they're having a great time. You're like, wow, you must have good tools and techniques at least to be bridging the gaps in between. Keep that going. Do you?
Yeah, I think communication is key in that aspect. It's like I think with the distance, you kind of have to over communicate and set up these like boundaries of if and be actually very aware of their emotional states and like how they're messaging back, what messages are being sent. So it takes this level of like awareness and communication that I've never experienced before, because I'm able to just be like, hey, you want to meet up for dinner? Like, let's go, and have a conversation like that, where it's like different now, where I have to like wait for her to text me back. There's also a time difference, and so just like over communicating and keeping things fun and light is like super important. And that's like kind of my system that I've been using.
What a great life experience.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for you. Hugh also mentioned that you and you also mentioned that you like have been traveling a lot and you like travel regularly, like out of curiosity. And also you mentioned you're a backend engineer, so I'm sure you can unlock it as much as you want. Like what kind of travel are you into? What are some of the places that you really liked? Like what are some places you really want to go?
Yeah. Yeah, let's see. So as far as places that I've been that I liked, I think everywhere is unique. However, like Japan was probably my favorite, just because it's such a culture shock, and not a lot of people speak English, and also the lettering is not the same. So like us at the train station, it was kind of hectic because you're matching like symbols, and it was like it took a lot longer. And then also just the culture over there was amazing. I mean, everyone treats you with respect. You know, when you ask for like a cup of water, they're not like on their phone and getting it like 5 minutes later, they're like, hi, and then they run and they go and grab it and then they run back to you. And it's like, I mean, I feel like we just don't get that here. That was one aspect like I really liked. I think also France was kind of the same way. And what I noticed was culturally, they don't have hourly workers, they have like salary. And so even people at restaurants are salaried. So you get people who care a lot more about what they do. So when you ask a question at a restaurant, like, hey, can you tell me a little bit about this dish? Or what's like your favorite dish? And they'll explain like how the chef prepares it, why they think it's a favorite, the flavor profiles, like what pairs well with it as far as wine goes. Like it was just this like really long description, and you're kind of intrigued by this. You're like, okay, I'll order that. Like that was an easy decision. And so those two, but as far as like what kind of travel I like doing, I like kite surfing, well, kiteboarding specifically. And so I'll travel to these places that have like high winds. So I go to Maui a lot, been to Colombia to go kite surf, Tahiti to kite surf. And so like, that's really what kind of guides some of my travel. I'd say most of it. And the rest of it is like just traveling with friends. I have a good buddy of mine that lives in Maui, and he sets up these trips a couple times a year, and I get invited every year. And so, for instance, in March, we're going to Portland and Mount Baker, and we're going to do some snowboarding up there. And then June, we're going out to Bali to celebrate a birthday. And so that's kind of what has sparked the travel. And then also like France with a French girl. But it was also my first time ever traveling alone, which was really interesting. Granted, I had people there to show me around, but it's my first time being like, I'll book my own flight, book my own Airbnb. Like it's all on me to basically set up, which was awesome.
And when you went to Japan, you went snowboarding, but you did avalanche training, right?
Yeah. So we got level 1 certified.
Like the things Rostam does, it blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, no, that was super cool. So they taught us how to like measure the depth. They taught us like snow types, how to rescue someone, the transponders, like pretty much everything to gear you up for going backcountry skiing. And like one of our plans in the future is to do like heli skiing in the backcountry, where you like split board up and you're like cruising up this mountain for like 2 hours and you cruise down for 15 minutes. And it's like 3-5 year goals that we're kind of setting up.
So is it fair to say kite surfing is the summer activity that you're into and snowboarding is the winter activity?
Exactly. Yeah, you got it.
Cool. I like how your goals, like 5-year goals, are centered around like fun things. It's like I want to do this adventure, I want to do this other adventure, and then it's like you're like, I'm sure your career stuff and like other things are like also very solid, but you're just like, that's gonna be good anyways, like just do my work. But then you're like I'm gonna go like, I don't know, learn how to survive an avalanche. Like,
Yeah, it's I think that's what fuels me to keep going at work as well. Because it's like I value my time like to myself and like to go travel. It really like rejuvenates and like re-energizes me. So I need a couple of those a year, which is what my work's afforded me. They give me a week every 3 months. So I plan around those times to go like do some crazy stuff, I guess.
wow, very nice. Lots of respect. Wow. um, what I don't know. Do you want to talk about the back end stuff? Do you want to get into it?
Correction, you're full stack dev, aren't you?
I'm full stack.
That's my
now.
fault.
Yeah, I went to school for back-end engineering.
Yeah. But definitely Rostam is doing a lot of front end stuff too. I was like thinking, I was like, man, I undersold you.
Yeah.
Did you go to a boot camp? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So yeah, I went to Turing School of Software Engineering. They're based in Denver, Colorado. It's a 7-month accelerated program, and they teach you Ruby on Rails, and they kind of expose you to React and JavaScript and some GraphQL as well, just to get you some exposure. But no in-depth. Ruby on Rails was the main thing. And yeah, kind of before that, I was really into finance and the stock market. And so actually, Hugh, he encouraged me to take a step towards engineering. I was, as I said, into finance, and I wanted to create like algorithms for the stock market. And I was like, hey, how do you do that? Like, what are the steps to doing that? And he was like, well, you need to take courses in Python and data analysis. And so I bought a Udemy course, literally called Python for Data Analysis, and taught you pandas, all these different libraries that you can use to analyze data. And I kind of did that on my free time while I was working, and it was like really energizing. Like it kind of gave me this, yeah, it just kind of was exciting for me. And so at that point I was like, well, what are my options, right? Like either I go to school for like data science or I go to school for like software engineering. And yeah, I chose Turing.
How long ago was that?
This was a year and I want to say like 3 months ago, a year and 4 months ago.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And so were you able to find a job right away?
So I actually looked for about 2 months before I got referred from a friend at Turing. She knew the CEO of the company and was like, hey, I think you'd be a great fit. Like, let me put you in contact. And that's where I'm at now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
2 months is pretty great. It took me 5 months to get my first job.
When did you get your job though? Because like mine was during the heat of like COVID.
Oh, I graduated from boot camp in February of 2017. It took 5 months before getting like my first full-time offer, and I was teaching web development on the side before doing that. Also was like volunteering for like civic tech projects. I was like doing everything I could to just learn a little bit every day and like to just like work with people who knew more than me. That first job didn't work out. I did like a contract crypto job kind of thing for a company that's like not a real company. They also paid in Bitcoin. Very weird situation, but I learned a little bit more there. And then after that company failed, I like went to like my first like real software company. And then,
what was the name of it?
So that one was called FriendBuy. They do like e-commerce marketing stuff, and then like a year and 9 months ago, went to my company now, which is based out of New York. It's like finance stuff, and I just, every step getting paid to learn and getting more responsibilities every time I kind of like move somewhere else. So.
Yeah. Did you stay in the same language and framework as you were in boot camp, or did you move?
Generally, yeah. I learned React and JavaScript, and then like some Node.js stuff. But yeah, now I'm doing like TypeScript and React. I took a few Java courses, like community college courses, and I've contributed to the like backend Java system. Like, it's not something I'm gonna get paid for, or like it's not something I would be hired for, but I have contributed to it. But yeah, primarily doing like front end and like back of front end work.
Yeah, the only reason why I ask is because like I had to jump because I went to school for Ruby on Rails, but I work in Java and JavaScript and Vue.js, and so I
cool.
teach myself. It's a lot easier when you know software engineering, but like I teach myself all these different languages and frameworks, which was it's pretty rough, but
it's honestly incredible seeing what Rostam has done in the past stretch of time. What, 6 to 8 months?
I'm coming up on 9 months.
9 months now. Yeah. 10 months, we'll say. We'll just keep it 10.
Yeah.
12 months. 13 months.
10 months.
Okay, 10 months. Rostam, something that I'm so impressed with is how rapid and avid a learner he was, and how proactive a learner he was in one of like the hardest fields to learn on one's own, especially at a startup and minimal mentorship. Pretty incredible, the tools that he picked up. And you started out as a junior and you're now a software developer, so, and you burned the midnight oil and still are, but it's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible he did.
It was rough. But it was definitely like the trajectory. It's exponential growth when you first get in, right? Especially having like a senior dev to kind of help guide you. But yeah, a lot of hours.
I'm curious. So before you actually went to the boot camp and everything, and you were still feeling it out, Rostam then versus Rostam now, like how do you analyze or view that progression track and think about your growth? And do you think you've even accomplished anything? Because in my eyes, have you? No, I'm just kidding.
No, great question. So I think before I lacked this like belief in myself, just throughout like things that happened in childhood, college, high school, etc. I just didn't believe that I was like quote unquote smart. I got a degree in finance and economics. It was pretty easy. I just kind of got by with it. And then I was working a mundane job, which was literally something that like a computer could do. You're writing reports all day for 8 hours. And it was just like really, it didn't challenge me. And I just felt like it was boring. And so me back then, not believing in myself, not believing I can like achieve what I've achieved. Yeah, I think that's like how I view myself back then. And then now it's like, and kind of context too is like I got that degree just because my parents wanted me to. It's not because it was something that was like super happy to go into. They're like, hey, a degree is everything. School is everything in life. And so once I found software engineering and it's something that I wanted to do, I was like willing to put a lot more effort to learn it. And so now, I mean, like, yeah, I realized my growth in the past year has just been insane. And I didn't really think that I could do it at certain points in time. Like it was really rough. And, you have this kind of imposter syndrome and am I doing things right? Like all these things came to mind, but where I'm at now, I kind of take a look back and I'm like, yeah, like I've really grown a lot and I've learned so much. And the most beautiful thing about software engineering is you can never be the best. I think that's what kind of like enticed me too, is like you will continually grow. So yeah.
Yeah, lots of respect. As I think the three of us have all had our share of struggles and especially like the beginning of my jobs, I'm just like, dude, how did I manage to get hired? Like I'm I'm about to be discovered that I'm actually a lot dumber than I sold myself as. uh,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty common to have imposter syndrome in like everyone that I've talked to in the software industry. The only hope is that as we get more experience and hopefully become less dumb, that we just like get better at pretending that we know what we're doing.
AKA Googling and copy and pasting.
Oh yeah.
And then tweaking to get it to work. Yeah, absolutely.
Stack Overflow.
It saved my life a couple times.
Out of have you thought about kind of mid to long term career goals? Like, do you want to keep working in software? Like, is there like somewhere where you want to like get, or you like just trying to learn?
Yeah, it's a great question. I want to say I have like a career trajectory of like where I want to get to, but I think things for me right now are like fluid. So I enjoy, like I know what I enjoy, which is helping people. I mentor a student at Turing, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So potentially engineering manager down the road, or lead engineer, or even senior engineer. I like to architect things and think thoroughly before starting to build something, like whiteboarding things out, talking about the best plan of action. So all these things, I don't like GCP and like deployment. I'm not really like a big DevOps guy. So I know that I won't go into that field, but I think it's up for, I don't know, it's not really like decided, right? And there's a lot of opportunity at my job now, which is cool, to become whatever I want to become, and like move up into different roles and stuff. So kind of keeping all the options open.
Dude, I can already tell you're a smart guy.
It's because I got imposter syndrome. I don't know. I'm good at faking it. No.
You're good at convincing the rest of us that you're a smart guy.
Yeah, that's what got me the job, you know.
Wow. I'm really impressed because you you know, like I know a lot of people that are interested in working in software or data or like something in the tech world, and it's scary to like learn, just like do your first like leak code problem, and it's scary to like try to get something to compile, and it's scary to, it's like, and it's really hard, and like most people don't make it. That being said, when you are on the other side and you've found your first job and are getting the rhythm of it, like it's a really good place to be. But yeah, I'm shocked that I made it. Hugh made it look easy the whole time. Rostam, it seems like you were just hustling the whole way through, and like yeah, I'm like happy for all of us that were like, you know, like worked for something.
Yeah.
Where yeah,
I'm a huge proponent of like, you can achieve what you put your mind to. Like if you really want something, you can get it. And so for me, it's like I really wanted it. So I was like, well, I have to put in 70, 80 hours a week for 7 months. And if that's a lifestyle that I'm wanting to get, then that's the price I have to pay. So yeah, I'm glad that we all made it too. It's been a crazy ride to get here, but we can breathe now, you know, and we can continue growing and setting goals and achieving them.
dude, leave some achievement for the rest of us.
There's plenty to go around.
Wow. And how are you two friends?
Are we friends?
Ooh, this is the awkward grinder story.
Grinder, yeah, totally. I didn't want to say it. Yeah, what's up, baby?
We're actually lovers.
So we met in France, and I'm visiting.
He was like, I was that girl.
Right, we're gonna stop that one then before it gets too deep. No. Yeah, no, I think Rostam and I met via a mutual friend, Thomas, and since that day, he's put up with my presence ever since. And since he said, you know, if I have to hang out with this guy for more than a year, I guess we should be friends. And I'm so sorry that I'm in your life.
No, yeah, but we met through Thomas.
Yeah, it's been good though. There's been moments. There's been some really fun moments. Like, yeah, we've always had a good time. Like Rostam is so driven and down to work, but then honestly, Rostam is probably one of the biggest instigator of good decisions on the weekends.
Great decisions.
The best.
Ones that make you feel it the next day too.
You know, you just can't complain, especially on a Monday sometimes.
Oh gosh. Yeah. We like to party a little bit, you know, it's the work-life balance.
There was a time, my favorite story right now of Rostam of all time, yeah, far, it still has to be surpassed. Well, maybe the France one actually just surpassed it, but the second tier story now is when Rostam made it in tech and yada yada, he went to go visit some team members or something in San Francisco, you know, Silicon Valley, yada yada. So cool. But anyways, he goes to Silicon Valley, goes to some bar and is like super stoked and goes in. Tell me if I'm butchering, but he goes in and he's like, I'm in tech. I'm in tech.
Everyone at the bar heard me too. They all turned over because I yelled it. I fell on top of the world that day.
You're definitely very special to be someone in San Francisco who works in tech. Very, very special. They'll be like, wow, that person works in tech.
I was like, Rostam, we're like, Rostam, you need to get a bicep tat of like, I'm in tech. And oh, goodness. Make that a recursive loop. Okay, so Rostam is cool. That's it. That's all there is to it. Yeah. I hate to say
so
it.
now my alter ego name is like I say I'm in tech. Whenever we're partying a little bit, it's fun.
That's wonderful. What is the typical like scenario of partying that?
You know, this will be on the internet forevermore, so I don't think we should digress. We put the fifth. Thank you, Muti Podcast.
We don't want to edit out the entire like next 30 minutes.
It's a good time though.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think we do have a good time and we travel a lot and we just we're going to be going to places and yada yada. But I think something that's actually cool on the flip side of just partying, you know, partying is fun in everyone's own context and definition of it. So TBD on definitions. But I think something that's really cool is when Rostam mentioned his goals of just, you know, achievement of, you know, adventures, but also in the professional world of technology and creation. And usually I believe that people don't usually make it unless they have a significant why, right? And or a why can change over time. However, to get someone through the moment, it's not about what I can be or what I can make. Sometimes that works for some, but most of the time it's the why. And I think Rostam has really is like a really, his whys to me have always been something that stood out. And even when I ask friends, so like even in interviews, I'll ask designers that are coming up. I'm like, one of my favorite questions that I was ever asked was, you know, like, what would your best friend say about you if I asked them? You know, and I think it's so simple and it's kind of just letting them brag about themselves, but I think it shows a lot of traits. And I think one of the things that I personally heard when I had never seen it, so I still think it's a lie, is that, you know, Rostam, when he sees people that are struggling or a homeless person or something, he'll give water bottles or give something, not cash because of XYZ reasons, but to give and support. Or when something happens and somebody drops something, Rostam's like right there. And I've always thought that was amazing. But then I think it also is, that's like the smaller dailies, but with regards to now getting into software and wanting to have that ability, I've heard a few of Rostam's pipe dreams. You know that dreams are dreams, and you have many ideas, and anything's possible in software. But one of them, and I don't know if you want to talk a bit more about it, is helping other people, right? And that, what, you can explain that one more. And then there's also like really cool, Rostam's big into composting and environmentalism, XYZs, and I have a lot to learn in that, and I don't know too much, so I would love to discuss a bit more on any of those topics.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my goals is like, I think software can change people's lives, because I think like you go from like making X amount to like making XY amount in software, and it's like it changed my life and my life trajectory. And so I think it'd be awesome to be able to take someone that's low or that low income, whatever, that has the desire to like get out of it, and be like, hey, like come stay with me for 6 months, 8 months. Let's software engineer every single day. Let me teach you the way, and then you can go off and get your own job. And I think it's really powerful to be like, yeah, I changed someone's life trajectory. So I think that's like one of my goals with software, to like give back. Granted, like mentoring and tutoring is giving me a little bit of satisfaction, but what's the next level to that?
Because you already do that. You already do mentoring and tutoring.
Yeah, I know the enjoyment that I get out of it. So taking it steps further, it's like, well, how can we amplify this? And I think that's kind of the direction that my mind is going. Yeah.
Very cool. So the kind of like cause and like the way to give back that you're thinking of is to like empower people who otherwise might not have gone a software career path, to like spend your time and your resources to like help that person level up.
Yeah, and it's like I was afforded the luxury of like being able to go there because it's expensive, and then I know they have income share agreements, but not everyone gets approved, and so I think that there's more opportunity for us to like give back and really like help people out with our time and resources.
Huh. Have you heard of effective altruism?
No.
So I think it's kind of similar to how you're thinking about things, like giving back. It's a sort of movement. There are like books behind it, and the big idea behind it is that for people who want to do good and like want to make an impact, like let's say someone who goes to work at a nonprofit because they want to like shape the world or like do some good. What this movement argues is that instead of working at a nonprofit, what you should do is probably get the lucrative job and donate a portion of your income to charity, and so that you support those nonprofits. And the argument is that that's like a very real way of having impacts, but then like you're not like stuck in you don't have to be in the nonprofit world. And so there are like different ways of thinking about it. So like one thing that people do is they'll have what are called quality of life years, like QALY. That's like a measurement, and they'll be like, oh, on a per dollar basis, like how do I, like which charity is going to have like the highest quality of life years? And then there's another charity that will like rank the different charities. And so like the top of the list will be like malaria nets, because it turns out for every like $10, someone lives like 10 years longer of like a quality year. So there's like all this like thinking behind it. The person who is a big proponent behind the movement he's an Oxford professor who like wrote books and started a nonprofit. And what he does is he lives off of the median income in the UK, which is like 57,000 euros. he makes way more than that, but he donates with the rest of his money. He like donates to charity. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's like really cool.
Yeah, I think charity is interesting because it's like you don't get that immediate benefit of like knowing that you've helped someone. I think like they try and personalize it too to like give you pictures or give you updates, but yeah, it has a better ROI, I guess, for investing your money and getting or achieving more like change. That makes sense totally.
Yeah, and also if the relationship is important, then that's it's like if someone in Africa doesn't get malaria, it's like very far removed. Still very impactful, but then it's like if the goal is to like mentor someone and like have that kind of relationship, that's a different thing. Either way, I would say really great that you're like thinking about impact and thinking about giving back. A lot of respect. You also mentioned that you worked in like finance and you're doing investment stuff. Like, are you still like involved with that stuff, or are you like automating it?
Yeah, so I still trade. Not really like day trading anymore. I tried that out for 6 months. I feel like I lost 2 years off my life because you don't sleep, and it was a crazy setup that I had. So I don't think I'll go that route anymore, but I do invest for like a long term, just companies that I see being around for a while, and then parking the money in there to make money. We're in such a bull run right now; it's kind of ridiculous. You can put your money in a lot of things and it'll grow. But yeah, I don't do like more of the technical analysis. I do kind of just like what are products that I think Kevin Hart came out with like an Instagram thing, and he was like, he told his daughter, he's like, okay, so Colgate, you brush your teeth every day. That's a product that's going to be around forever, right? People need to brush their teeth. So like, why would you not invest in that? Starbucks, people like coffee. They're going to go out and buy coffee. So are they going to go away? Probably not. So he's like giving advice to his daughter on like how to invest their money. And I was like, well, that's true. Like that's one way of investing money that it's, non-aggressive, right? It's not going the crypto or like, inverse volatility stocks, like you're just investing in these corporations that will pay dividends and they're kind of plateauing. But then I have more some of the like more aggressive investments like crypto, and I allocate some of my portfolio to that. And then yeah, like tech, and I stay up to date with a lot of the news too. So like for instance, we're in a semiconductor shortage right now. And so therefore, they can charge a higher price, like supply, demand, economics. And so we'll see a lot of these companies making profits in their Q3, Q4 earnings. So you can kind of play those things for a period of time before it kind of levels out. Yeah. And then oil as well, because oil is kind of crazy right now. But yeah, so I just have money like pretty much everywhere that I see 1 to 2 month investment paying off. And once I hit a certain percentage, then I'm like, okay, I'm happy. Like I'm out. Let me find the next thing.
Oh wow, 1 to 2 months.
Yeah, I don't like holding for long term. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
I guess the rationale there is like there's the information that comes out. Stock prices are immediate because it's available to everyone, right? Not just like quants or like hedge funds, etc. So now that you have so much information passed out to the people, that means they can make informed decisions, and you get more of the swings in stock prices. And so for me, that means that like I can't really handle too big of swings. Like it's rough. So once I hit like my target, even if it's like shorter than 1 or 2 months, I'll just sell it and then keep moving on. Granted, the ones that are like not doing so well, I average down, so I've held on to them for like 3 or 4 months now. So I don't take a loss, I just average down, and those are like the ones that I'll hold on to longer.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd imagine when you're taking like 1 to 2 month bets, like the thinking is very different from kind of like a buy and hold person, because with with that approach, your thinking is like, what do people not get that they're gonna start to see in like a month or two? So like, you're like trying to be like a step ahead of people.
Yeah, and just like read what the outlook's what's gonna happen in the short term, right? Like based on the shipping container getting stuck in the canal, like what is that going to affect in the short term? How is that going to affect the prices of consumer goods? Or let's say like the ports in California are completely booked out, like they literally have like ships just sitting there that can't really dock because they don't have employees. Like what is that going to affect in the short term? And you can kind of pick companies or kind of guess on, because it's all gamble, right? Educated gamble, but you can kind of predict or see like what's going to be affected, and then base your investments off that.
It's all a gamble with a hopefully positive expected value.
Hopefully. Doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah. You also mentioned that there's a bull run, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot, because traditionally when there's something where it's like people say it's a bubble, or people say like that it's overpriced or whatever, it's been a pretty clear target. It's been like crypto in late 2017, or it's been like the tech stocks in like the late 1990s, or real estate in like up to 2007. So there are very few. There are places where it wasn't obvious, but it was clear that prices were inflated. Like there I don't think any rational person in late 2017 was actually, I'm totally wrong. There are bulls everywhere, but it's like if something multiplies by 20 and you're still buying in, it's like you have to be reasonably aware of like the fact that it could also drop by 80%, which is exactly what happened. That being said, the reason why it's interesting right now is because everything is up. Like house prices are up like 20 to 25% from a year ago. Stock market, like every index, all-time high.
Yep.
Tesla is at, I don't know, 1.2 trillion, 1 trillion, who knows? Every day it's different. Bitcoin up, Ethereum, all these shit coins. The coin that copies the meme coin, like the meme coin of the meme coin, is going crazy. Like, dude, I would like to hear your hot take on what's going on.
Weird times. Well, I think there's two parts there that come to mind. Is like one, prices are rising, however, our income is not rising at the rate by which things are getting more expensive. So there's a delta there, right? And so like for me, I do think it's kind of crazy right now. I don't know if I think everyone said from the last 6 years, oh, everything's too high. Like everything, it's going to drop. Like it's going to crash tomorrow. Like it's going to crash next week because of X, Y, Z. So there's like that component that we have this fear of potentially losing everything again based on, historical evidence. Every 8 to 10 years, you have a correction. And so if you're looking at it through those lenses, it's like, yeah, maybe I'm more cautious about my money and investments. But yeah, I guess I set that as like the standard. But like the other part is, yeah, I mean, we're future looking, we're investing in like the future of these companies. And so for Tesla and all these companies to be extremely highly valued as we move into like tech, I feel like it will always be there and it will always be increasing because we have a huge dependency on it. So it's kind of like a safe bet. But as far as like the crazy bull runs and like crypto being up, I think it's just young millennials have money and they're just like, hey, we can make money off of this by like tweeting some things and watch the stock price go up. It's yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I don't know if it's like based on any actuality, like like they do any research on the company or they do any research into any of the coins. They're just like, oh, this one seems to be going up. AMC, you know, like it's going up and everyone's getting behind it. Let's just ride the wave into it. And then they make a lot of money and they're like, all right, well, we'll buy other stock too. And then, you know, it kind of inflates. So I don't know what's going to correct it, but yeah, things are definitely, I feel like inflated. But again, they've said that for the past 10 years, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know if they actually are. What's your take?
I don't know. I just saw that Rivian number one IPO'd at like $70 billion. And then number two, I haven't checked since market close, but they were up like 35%. So let's say they're like $100 billion company. They haven't made like $1 million yet. Like they haven't they have contracts with Amazon and I'm sure they are a promising car company, but like it's pretty wild. Like Tesla IPO'd at like 500 million or something. Like it was, and they had been making the Roadster at the time, and like it's just yeah, I mean sorry, go on.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say with the whole Rivian thing, it's like based on a deal. If it doesn't go through or like they don't produce or whatever, like the fluctuations in that are gonna be ridiculous. You know, let's say they drop the contract, like that stock price is gonna be down 50-60% in one day. So it's like I don't know too much about the deal, but I remember them IPOing today, $78 a share.
Yeah, that being said, I would love to see the car live. I think in Venice Beach they have like a Rivian. They call it like an adventure hub, so like anyone can go visit and look at the cars. I think I will do that when I'm in LA. But I hope they like they're successful because they're like really cool cars from what I've seen on the website. Anyways, my hot take is that we're like printing a lot of money, and it makes everything go up in value, and like everything just ends up costing more. And obviously it's the people who are the people that benefit, people who like have big 401k balances, and like people who own property, and like people who like just got a mortgage. And then who are the people that don't benefit? People on fixed incomes who don't have giant 401k balances. So I'm a little sad about that. I don't know what the right solution is, from a like I'm not this Federal Reserve kind of perspective. So I don't know. But yeah, that being said, I'm just like not, or at least for the last like year and a half, I've been a very not believer in cash. Yeah. All right, Hugh, what's up? What's up with you? What's going on in your mind?
No, it came to me. I was like, let's go. What's the inflation this year? It's gonna be 4 or 5%, right?
So that the CPI is a little misleading because it's like a group of economists who like choose the basket of goods, and so it's very easy. It's like if you're someone who like lives in your mom's basement and you smoke weed, like whether or not how much inflation affects you is very different from someone who's like 30 years old, about to buy their first house, like about to get married, is saving up for X, Y, and Z, wants to buy a boat, like goes on vacation every year. Like I think the CPI is like pretty, it's only like one slice of the whole story. So yeah. All I know is when I've gone to restaurants, they're all hiring. Service is slow because you have like 2 people working where you traditionally have had 4. Like what's gonna happen? People are gonna quit until these businesses like give higher wages, and they're gonna raise prices in response. Because like people are going to these restaurants now that like we're like slowly opening up. So yeah, I don't mind paying more for stuff. What makes me sad is that there are people that are on the who like are on the short end of that stick. They people are understandably mad and like unhappy, and it's all this. It's like billionaires tax, which it sucks, but it's like I don't know what the right way to address it is, other than like make government a lot smaller. Yeah. Hot take.
Yeah. It's like, also, where's that money coming from? I think people during COVID, when they got laid off, they got paid like a lot of money just to stay at home and not work. I had a friend who I think it was $3,000 a month they were making from the government for staying at home. And I was like, okay. And they don't have any expenses, so that's in savings. And so now they're like, well, I don't want to work. I have money. So they don't. I think that's like kind of the cause of this whole worker shortage. That's just my take. I don't know.
Was your friend, was unemployment paying $3,000 a month?
It was for COVID. People who got laid off during COVID. They made yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Wow. That being said, I do want there to be a universal basic income.
Interesting. Your UBI is equal across all states and geographies?
Yeah. I would love for that to happen. I would love for Jeff Bezos to get a check every month.
What amount?
I don't know. Let's say $1,500 a month. Every single person.
Even more than Andrew Yang?
So the thing is, Andrew Yang was $1,000 a month, but like since then prices have gone up, so it needs to like adjust to it. And then I don't think we should do a wealth tax, like an unrealized gains tax. I think we should do a tax on consumption of like non-essential goods, like boats, cars, definitely carbon tax, airplanes. And we should just tax all these things that like rich people will do anyways. But then like don't tax groceries and don't tax like, I don't know what else. I would like to see that world. Oh, also while we're at it, let's get rid of all the freeways in LA and get rid of traffic.
I don't know how you do. How do you do that? Do you have a solution there? That's a big one.
I'll run for mayor, and then I'll be like, I'll get rid of traffic, and then yeah. Anyways.
Sounds like elementary school. I'll put soda in the drinking fountain. I'm voting for her. I remember those days. I never got soda. No, I'm just kidding. Cool.
Oh, it's almost been an hour. Awesome. What words of wisdom or parting thoughts do you have for our listeners?
Words of wisdom. We only control ourselves and how we perceive life. That's all I'm gonna leave. I'm a mic drop on that.
It's amazing. You're right.
You are right. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna close it out. We're gonna call it a day. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you, Hugh and Rostam, for coming on to another another episode of the Moon Tea podcast where we talk about craft, community, building meaningful careers, and honestly anything else we digress into. And then we get to see these outros all the time by John, and they're amazing. Make my day. I don't know how to do the wave like that. It's pretty great. It's like that should be a gift. Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, good catch.
Peace.